Let's give a big welcome to tonight's guest. He's a music legend who's celebrating a solo career spanning 5 decades.
Yeah, shall we get the couch ready, get the cushions? We've got the leopard skin ones.
Oh, yeah, I always love a bit of leopard.
Yes, we are giving him the full rock star treatment.
Have you guessed who it is? It's Sir Rod Stewart, everybody!
Lovely to see you.
Well, that is pretty sensational entrance.
There you go. I know.
Really great. Thank you so much, guys.
The West End Musical Choir. What an entrance. Can we have that, everybody, please?
We've made a little cobble street look at just 31 of your album.
That is a lot of work down there, mate. A lot of work, and every moment was enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
Apart from that album.
Absolute. Is that... Which one was that?
No, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. It's a joy to make music, period, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And you're celebrating 50 years as a solo artist. Obviously, a lot more work's gone into it than that, as you've alluded to there. Yeah. But that song, Maggie, that was the first solo...
Yeah, 1971. 1971. And it wasn't even supposed to be on the album. The record company said, oh, no. They said, first of all, I'd only got 7 or 8 songs. They said, we need 9.
Right.
And I said, oh, well, I've got this one. I haven't quite finished it. And we put it on the album. And they said, but it hasn't got a sing-along chorus, like what the music business call a payday.
OK.
And I said, well, it's the best I can do. So I put it on. What do the record companies know? You know?
Well,
they know
nothing.
Absolutely
so when you heard then that it had gone to #1, obviously it must have come as a bit of a shock to you then. Where were you and how did you celebrate that?
Well, I was in... I was actually driving down, and this story is in my book, I hate to repeat myself. I was driving down to Swiss Cottage to meet some mates in a pub, and I had a Rolls Royce by then, funnily enough, before Maggie May. I was in the Faces. Yeah. And when it was #1, the BBC, I turned round, went back to my mum and dad's council house and went in and gave them the biggest hug and kiss, especially my dad. He always believed in me.
Oh,
yeah,
that's
for
lovely.
sure.
How's the voice feeling?
The boys?
Your voice.
Oh, the voice. Yeah. Oh, it's fine now. Yeah, just...
Because you had a bit of a tough week last week, had to pull out of Royal Variety.
Yeah, disappointing, because I wanted to sing with Robbie, but, you know, my job, if you get laryngitis, you're buggered. Yeah, you can't do it. Anybody else can go to work, but I can't.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm OK now, 100%.
Good.
Well, listen, rest your voice for the moment. We've got a lovely little film here because, as we say, we are celebrating 50 years of you as a solo artist. And we've had a word with quite a few of your friends and some of your colleagues too, so just have a little look at this.
Over the past 50 years, Rod Stewart has sold more than 250 million records worldwide as a solo artist, making him one of the most successful singers of all time. So, what's his secret? Maybe those closest to Rod can shed some light.
The ladies love him, and he is a first-class performer.
Talented, moderately good-looking. Of course, he's not as good as Elton John, because Elton's got much better hair.
What I've always loved about him is his traditional manners and being such a gentleman and respectful of women.
Rod was born in Highgate, North London, in 1945 to Elsie and Robert Stewart, and was raised above this corner shop.
His dad would leave Roddy in the shop to mind it while he went down the bookies, actually. And, of course, Rod would then put on the close sign and get the guitar out and start strumming. His dad went nuts, you know.
He got his first break from rhythm and blues legend Long John Baldry, before moving on to collaborate with Jeff Beck and Ronnie Wood.
Well, Rod and Ronnie first played together in the Jeff Beck group. And that was a very important musical moment. The Faces grew out of that because Ronnie and Rod became such good mates.
Him and Ronnie are like two schoolboys together. They've both got their cranky ideas and they do strange things together.
The real breakthrough in his solo career came in 1971 when Maggie May went to #1.
It wasn't a voice that anybody had ever heard before. And then you put that together with the music you never heard at the time. There was mandolins, and it kind of blew everybody away.
Maggie May came out the very month and year I was born, and I often sit back in awe of and admiration of what he's been able to produce and sustain for so long.
Rod has had an incredible 9 #1 albums and 26 top 10 singles. Throughout these years, there's been another constant in Rod's life: football.
Rod actually was a very, very good football player. And if he'd had the discipline, he could have been professional. He didn't like cleaning boots.
When I first got announced I was going to be the Celtic manager, I was walking down to the house. At the bottom of the hill was Don and Rod going, "We are not worthy. We are not worthy because I've become the Celtic manager."
I am flying.
You're a great ambassador for the club. You know the support you give the team. You're a true, authentic Celtic fan.
And there's one more thing that's of paramount importance.
Family means everything to Rod, and I think as years have gone by, I mean, he's turning 75 soon. His brother is 90 next year, his sister's just turned 90, very, very close with them, and of course all of his children.
She makes me happy when the clouds are grey.
I'm proud to know him because I think he's one in a million, and I keep forgetting he's a sir. I've never ever called him sir. I don't know if I could get put in prison for it or something.
It hasn't gone to his head. He doesn't ask anybody to call him Sir Rod, although people do. That's rather nice.
You never, ever get fed up being in Rod Stewart's company.
It's not just his friends and family. Rod's music has been the soundtrack to so many lives.
I'd like to say congratulations for your 50 years in the business. You're catching up to me now.
Congratulations, Rod. I love you.
I'm proud to know you. You are indeed a world-class superstar.
Congratulations on 50 years of being my wife's favourite person.
All he wants to do is make people happy, and I see how he gives this to everybody that he meets. It just makes people believe in themselves. He's just a special guy, and I love him lots.
Oh, Rod. So much love for you.
It's lovely.
So much love.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
Can you believe it? I don't know where to go from there. I'm like, oh my God, I
Do you
feel
know,
a bit emotional.
It was incredibly emotional actually watching that with you, certainly when you saw your dad there as well.
Got
And you
me,
said,
I haven't seen him for a while because he's been dead.
No.
Cool, you know, went right over your head, didn't it?
No, but just that moment where you said, you know what, he's been your biggest supporter.
Yeah.
And he gave you so
has.
much.
Yeah, I wrote a song about him, You Can't Stop Me Now, which was on an album a little while back, because he was always there, you know, pushing me, but also warning me about the downfalls in the music business. It may not last forever. There's drink. He didn't mention drugs, but...
Yeah. And how musical was he then? And how musical was the household in general?
Oh, we were all musically inclined, especially my big brother Don, who's turning 90. He would fancy himself as a bit of an Al Jolson.
Right.
Did a very good Al Jolson. We used to have the most wonderful Christmas parties.
Yeah, I bet.
You had to reinforce the basement?
Yes, we did. Yeah, 'cause my dad was a plumber and we had a cellar, and we used to have to put scaffolding up because everybody would come down in their kilts and everything, and I was supposed to go to bed. But I'd get out of bed and be at the top of the stairs and hear them all singing and shouting and going out the door and dancing up the streets, and just wonderful upbringing and childhood full of love.
And a house, as you said, full of music. And there was a track that you heard at home that kind of started it all for you.
Down the Rock Island Line, she's a mighty good road. The Rock Island Line is the road
There it is. The Rock Island Line.
Donnie Lonigan. Lonnie Donegan.
Johnny Lonigan. His family are going to cringe.
As he shall be known from now on. So what was it about that kind of change in pace? It felt like something completely new and fresh?
Well, it did. You know, I don't know if that was in the early 60s or maybe late 50s. But if you remember, London and Britain was going through this tremendous change in fashion and music. Everything was new and changing, and you know, the man had just been put on the moon in the 60s. So it was a great time to live, and I pity those who weren't there in the 60s.
Yeah. One thing that is very evident is how hard working you've been throughout your career, really, and certainly in those early days, because it would have been easy to have given up for you, wouldn't it? But actually that love, but that drive that you had, and all the different bands and the different kind of musical genres that you ended up going through, and really it was you on a bridge outside Twickenham with a harmonica when things really started to just work in the right direction.
I've always realised that music was my first and only love, even when I was trying to be a footballer. I was trying to keep my dad happy, but I had this burning commitment, and I always pass this on to, you know, young entertainers or singers. If it doesn't burn a hole in your chest, if there's nothing else, it's got to be a vision, then you won't succeed. So getting back to Twickenham railway station, I'd just been down to see Long John Baldry, who discovered me. But the way he discovered me was we were both on a train going back to London. He'd finished the show, and I was on the railway station playing a harmonica, you know, all heaped over with old coats on me like this, like a beggar. And he came up and he said, "Young man," because he was very posh, bless him, "would you like to join my band?" I said, "Yeah, that'd be great. Just come and play the harmonica." Then he let me sing, and I owe it all to him. I really do. God bless you. Long John. Round of applause for Long John.
Long John Baldry.
And you're all your career.
He was instrumental with Elton's career as well.
Yeah. And now looking back then over the 50-year solo career, and what you've decided to do is record with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra.
Yeah.
So why that style of music to celebrate this iconic?
Well, it's still all my music. It's just the strings, the wonderful arrangements that Julian, and I can't remember his second name. Can you have a look on the thing? He's made the songs come alive in a new way.
Yeah.
Given them a different reading.
Right.
It's most beautiful.
Yeah. Must be fascinating for you actually to stand there and hear that sound and think of all those memories actually that, you know, you must conjure up when you think about your career, and here they are in this kind of musical orchestra form.
It is so satisfying. You really feel you've achieved something. You've made all these recordings and hopefully made a lot of people happy along the way.
Sure.
Of course, yeah. I like the video. We're going to show a little video of you with a little bit of vintage Rod thrown in, and it's so gorgeous. Have a look at this.
I don't wanna talk about it, how you broke my heart. If I stay here just a little bit longer, if I stay here, won't you listen to my heart?
Absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I'm very happy. That pearl, I want to call it a blouse. I don't know if that's right, but these shoes, you haven't lost your interest.
I'd like to have a look
or
at the
your
shoes.
flamboyance. Oh, they're going to kill me for cutting to shoes.
No.
They are a
the socks are not bad either.
pair of brogues.
Pair of brogues, lovely.
Absolutely
Well,
beautiful.
speaking of glad rags and handbags and all sorts of things, one of the songs that you really wanted on that very first album was Handbags and Glad Rags. Why were you so besotted with that song?
It's a song written by Mike Darbo, and I think Chris Farlow may have done it before me. I just thought it was a work of art.
Did you?
Beautiful, beautiful song.
Yeah.
And of course the Stereophonics had a big hit with it, not quite as good as mine.
No. They did use your lyrics though, because you tweaked them a little bit, didn't you?
I
You
tweaked
added
them a
in the
little bit,
old...
but Mike Darbo, bless him, wrote a beautiful song.
Yeah. He's a lovely
and people
guy,
still
actually,
love
isn't
it
he?
all around the world.
He's a good lad, is he?
He is a good chap.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that because he's actually here.
Nice!
Come on, Mike!
Nice! Come in, Mike!
This is your life.
Because we need to hear this story, because it was a bit of a stitch-up way. Didn't it knock? He came round your house the night before.
The song. I was so lucky because I'd promised the song to Chris Farlow first, hadn't I?
Oh, so he didn't record it. I did it.
No, he recorded it first.
That's right, that's what I thought.
And so I said to Rod, you can't record it because I'm about to put out the Rod Stewart, the Chris Farlow version.
Yeah.
You're going to wait till your first album, and that was the deal we struck. You sang another song, Little Misunderstood, but you didn't really want to sing.
No, it was useless.
But you came... Rod came to my door one day and said, I've got the album deal. Do you remember Lou Reisner, of course?
Lou Reisner, yeah.
And he said, I've booked the studio and I want to record it. When? I said, tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it's just after the last World War ended, actually. Quite a while ago.
Well, it was 1968, but the album came out a year later, 69.
Mike, do you not agree with me? You grew up in the 60s. Weren't the 60s breakthrough time? Everything was new, fashion, music,
I loved it.
Everything.
I loved it.
But even that sound that you brought to it all, and that's what is so incredible. In fact, as Penny was saying, you're still going, you're still doing it. And you trailblazed, man. You absolutely did. You turned it from the singing into the kind of entertainment front man that we've got, the rock and roll.
There's not a day goes by where I played in the Manchester Arena the other night, sold out, and I'm going,
oh,
what?
right.
I'm 74. And they're screaming and shouting like I'm 16-year-old.
Well, long may it
was
last,
so
Rod.
great.
Oh, man. Well,
Glasgow tomorrow.
Super stuff. Don't we agree? Absolutely superb stuff. Rod's album, You're in My Heart, which is the perfect name for the album, is out now.
OK, mate, where are you living now?
Well, we've
Up
just
in
spoken.
Gloucestershire.
Oh, you're having a good old chin.
We'll have a chat.
That's the whole point.
Yeah,
That's the whole point. Why we put them together.
Talking about music
Stay there,
there.
Mike. Stay where you are.
Hang tight, Mike. Sit down.
Crack on.
We're going to chat about one of your other loves, Rod. You might want to have a little look at this.
Oh, yeah, you're going to be on board with this. Here we go.
The winter nights are drawing in, but here in Pickering, the Northern Lights Express will soon be rocketing down the tracks, bringing light, music and colour to the darkness.
For now, it's still the North Yorkshire Moors Railway, but from the end of the month, this train will be taking excited passengers on a magical, festive journey through the English countryside. However, before it can do that, it's being decorated with over 30,000 lights.
This is the idea of concept designer Andrew Pooley, who, along with carriage and wagon manager Kieran Murray and a handful of hardy workers, have been turning this heritage train into a locomotive discotheque.
Hello, guys.
Hello, hi, nice to meet you.
How can I help?
Well, so we're going for the most complicated one on the whole train.
OK, great.
So if you can help us on this, it'd be a big help.
I think I've come at the right time. How did you even come up with the idea and the story idea?
A very good friend of mine, Caroline Dampier, came up with the idea of putting the lights on the outside of the train, which, in fact, she'd seen the Nile Canyon Railway in California do. I thought that was great, but it's actually arguably better to look from the outside looking in rather than from the inside looking out. So how do we actually get people to want to travel with us if actually you want a good experience? Originally, we basically put lights in the forest and then we ran the train through it. And then we had a eureka moment where we could actually bolt the lights to the train and light the whole length of the track. We designed the lighting sequences to synchronise with music on board, and the music changes depending on whether what speed the train's doing.
No way.
So when you come to a line-side display,
Yeah.
and you obviously want to see all the beautiful things that we put out there, the music goes into very slow, mystical music, and the lighting sequences reflects that. And then when you want to speed up, and the lights change accordingly.
So we've actually done a trial run to try this, haven't we?
Yeah.
And it just looked amazing. The locals actually reported to police thinking it was a UFO or something.
No way.
They did, honestly.
Synchronising the lights and music will require some sophisticated software.
We have a GPS system which we put waypoints in down the line, and from that triggers the show file to progress along. So here you can see we have a cue which is fired by the GPS.
Right.
That then plays the audio cue below it, and then below that is the lighting state, and then that's set on a constant loop So if the train was to stop for whatever reason, it stays on that loop until it reaches next position.
That sounds pretty complex, but also pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. It's been a bit of a headache, but
Yeah.
we've got there in the end because no one's really done this before.
To help with maintenance costs, events like these are vital for North Yorkshire Moors Railway and other heritage railways around the country.
It's been 5 whole days and lots of hard work, but the Northern Lights Express is finally ready to break through those wintry nights.
If all the rehearsals go to plan, then the Northern Lights Express will open to the public from the 30th of November.
Show for you there, Rob.
I mean, I think everybody, especially recently, will know that you are a big rail enthusiast. And your daughter Ruby said that when she discovered your quite significant collection, that if she didn't know it was yours, she'd have thought it was built by a psychopath.
Thanks,
Which
Rube.
I absolutely love. It's like such a daughter thing
It's been
to
a
say.
hobby of mine since I was a child.
Yeah.
Since my dad, my dad bought me a guitar for Christmas instead of a model railway thing I wanted, and that's how I got started in the music. But it is, I mean, you can see
Rod, it's unbelievable.
I mean, it's
work
an
of art.
obsession, isn't it? 23 years in the
23
making.
years. Yeah, there's me.
Look at you.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
So proud of it.
I bet you are.
Absolutely
I
Look at
bet
that.
you
It
are.
looks like a real thing, doesn't
It
it?
really does. I
So
saw
this
the
is-
shots earlier on.
This is kind of inspiration from Chicago and New
New
York.
York,
then,
yeah, all the places I was on tour. So I would, check into a hotel and they give me a massive spare room.
Right.
And in that room, I would take all my tools that would be in flight cases, paints, chisels, everything you want, and do a project. Obviously, I wouldn't take the whole layout with me, but I'd do a project like a skyscraper or build a signal box or something, all from my own hands.
Absolutely brilliant.
Can't buy this stuff in the shops.
No.
No, it's brilliant. I also love how you took Jeremy Vine to task for suggesting it wasn't yours. But anyway, back in June on this show, we met members of the Market Deeping Model Railway Club
Yeah, we
after
did.
vandals caused 25 years, you can relate, worth of damage to their display.
Yeah, absolutely awful scenes here.
Yes.
But the public donated generously, and Rod gave £10,000 as well to help the club to rebuild the railway. And we're actually joined now, Rod, by the chairman of the club. Peter is here tonight because he wants to say thank you to you for all your generosity.
Oh, mate. Oh. Sit down, pal.
There you go.
Is this your first time on national television?
No.
No.
Right. Well, you've got a little something there, haven't you?
We've got a little
Peter?
something.
Yes.
We've got a little sweatshirt here
No.
with we thought it
Oh,
embroider
that's
it in gold
gorgeous.
for you.
Look at that.
Okay, and we want to make
So
you an honorary
wrong.
member of the club.
Oh, bless
Is
you.
that all right?
Look at that. That's
So there we
gorgeous.
go.
Have a look, guys.
There you are.
There you
Look
go.
at that. And Peter getting things back up and running, quite literally. Yeah.
Well, we were at the NEC this weekend with a layout that was extensively damaged.
Yeah.
It had been completely trashed, and it's taken 1,000 man-hours, 25 people working on it to get it back up and running.
Wow.
But it was there.
It was
which
there.
Wonderful. Yeah, and so Rod's money's helped with that. But more than that, we're involved with youth projects. We're involved with schools. We're involved with charities, all because of the generosity of so many people, and not just about the money, but about all the donations we've had of stock and all sorts of things. So it's been absolutely magical for us. It's changed a lot of people's lives in the club, but it's changing a lot of other people's lives. We're working with a charity, Little Miracles, that supports youngsters with cerebral palsy. We're building them a layout.
Bravo.
So
Yeah. Very good.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Right, well, all day here at the BBC, we've been announcing the shortlist for Sports Personality of the Year.
So far, Lewis Hamilton, Raheem Sterling, Alwyn Wynne-Jones, Dina Asher-Smith and Ben Stokes have all been revealed, and now it's our turn.
Yes, congratulations to them. Yes, the sixth and the
No
final
Celtic
contender.
No.
Yeah, well, hang on, there's one left. You never know. Keep your eyes peeled, Rod. In the running to be crowned Sports Personality of the Year 2019 is not a Celtic player, a heptathlete who spent the last 12 months beating the best and grabbing gold.
It's the best heptathlon of her life. She's the gold medalist. She breaks the British record. She's the world champion.
Congratulations, Katarina Johnson-Thompson.
You've been nominated for BBC Sports Personality of the Year.
What a year she's had.
She's won 2 championships, 1 European Indoor Championship.
Katrina Johnson-Thompson saved her best till last.
And a World Championship.
What a sight. Katrina Johnson-Thompson, world champion.
Please vote for Kat for BBC Sports Personality of the Year. She deserves the vote and we think she deserves to win it.
Congratulations. I love her. Katarina Johnson-Thompson, of course. So there you go. There are the 6 contenders for Sports Personality of the Year. And now it's up to you because you'll have the chance to vote on, put it in your calendar, Sunday, the 15th of December.
Yeah, we'll be up in Aberdeen. And on Wednesday, we're going to be joined here in the studio by the only person to have won that award 3 times. Yeah. Sir Andy Murray will be here. So looking forward to that.
Oh, Andy, come on, mate.
Yeah. He's going to be here. Get in. Yeah, it'll be a big old knees up, actually, in that arena and that auditorium.
Yeah,
Speaking of which,
so.
as far as crowds are concerned, I know we were just having a little chat in one of the little films there, Rod, about you in the arenas and what you see when you're out there and you feel the love. Well, there's a lot of love out there, not just for you, but also between your fans, because we're joined by a couple here. This is Kez and Stephen. And I don't know who wants... Do you want to tell the story, Stephen? Yeah. What happened? Go on.
It was the Rod Stewart concert in... Sir Rod Stewart concert in June. And I proposed to my fiancée.
Here's the evidence, look. So you wrote that on a sheet, and then you were apparently across the way, Kez, with your mum with 2 options.
Yes, my mum had... Steve met mum before, and she gave her the yes and a no sign, and mum said, which one?
And there you are.
And you
went
said
for the yes.
No, you went yes.
So go on, what would you like to say then to Sir Rod?
So we'd like to say thank you.
Are you married now? Have you done it?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Well, let me know the date so I can send a new toaster or a new fridge.
Lovely. Well, listen, your wife is here, actually. Penny, are you there? Yes, let's hear it for Penny Lancaster. In you come. Come on in, Penny. It's always lovely to see you. Come on, have a seat. Just very quickly before we all go. There we are, yes.
Have you guys got a couple song?
Well, when we got married, it was Etta James at last.
Oh,
so it had been a long time, darling, hadn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know, we were talking about charity earlier on, and I just have to say, I saw your little clip on Instagram the other day, the big thank you for the Teenage Cancer Trust. You raised an unbelievable amount of money.
It was actually 1.1 million, so after expenses, the charity got $1 million. It was incredible. It was,
30 people.
Yeah.
30 people.
Wow.
130, sorry.
It was 180 guests, and it was a concept by the new patron, Mark Aldridge, to do a more intimate event. So Rod and I would personalise the whole thing, designing the menu, the flowers, everything. And so making it that personal, people gave more, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, well, thank you to everybody that was there and gave honourably. Thank you.
Well, let's give everybody a round of applause.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us for Argent Arts. And that's all we've got time for. We were talking about Rod's album earlier on. You're in My Heart with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra is out now.
And we'll be back with these two, John Barrowman and Naomi Campbell, tomorrow. I cannot wait for that.
Believe it.
Thank you
We'll
so
see you
much.
later. Thank you all. Good night, good night, good night.
Bye-bye.